Okay, let's dive right in. When I say the word strength, what's the first image that pops into your head? Is it brute force? Raw power? Maybe something totally solid and unmovable? Yeah, for most of us, that's kind of the go-to definition. But here's the thought. What if we've got it all wrong? What if that obsession we have with being the toughest, the most unyielding, is actually a weakness? What if real, lasting strength looks completely different from everything we've been told to admire? So let's paint a picture. On one side, you've got the rock. It's rigid, it's tough, it fights to hold its ground. But you put it under enough pressure and what happens? It cracks, it shatters. Then you've got the river. It's adaptable, it's persistent. It never ever fights the rock, it just flows around it. And in that simple difference lies the secret to a whole other kind of power. Now, this isn't some new age idea I just cooked up. Nope. In fact, there's an ancient philosophy that looked to the natural world for the ultimate blueprint for being effective. And you know what it found? You guessed it. It found it in water. And this right here is the heart of it all. The highest goodness is like water. Now, that sounds beautiful, doesn't it? But it is so much more than just poetry. It's a strategic playbook. It's telling us that the most powerful way to move through the world is to act like water. Okay, so what does be like water actually mean? Well, it pretty much boils down to 3 core traits. First, water nourishes everything it touches, but it never sends a bill. It just gives. Second, it always flows to the lowest point, the humble places that most of us try to avoid. And third, it doesn't compete. It has no ego. It doesn't need to be number one. To make this real, just picture a quiet, steady rain. It's not loud, it doesn't put on a big show, but without it, there's no forest. Period. Or think about the essential workers who keep our world running. Their power isn't a fancy title or a corner office. Their power is that, without them, the whole system grinds to a halt. They are literally the water that nourishes society. All right, I know what you're thinking. This all sounds great in theory, but how do you actually use this in, real life? Well, the good news is we can break this down into a really practical framework. We can organize this into 3 practical ways to flow. First is flow with purpose. That's about where you put your energy. Second is flow with people. That's about how you interact. And third, flow with timing, which is all about when you make your move. Let's break those down. So flowing with purpose, this means getting grounded. It's about putting yourself where you're genuinely needed, where you can make a real difference. Think of the best boss you ever had. They weren't hiding in their office staring at charts, right? No, they were right there with you, in the trenches, understanding the real problems. They go where the ground is thirsty. Next up, flowing with people. This is all about having a mind that's like a deep, calm lake, not a shallow, splashy puddle. A perfect example of this today is an open source developer. They share their genius for free, building on each other's work, creating incredible things, all without keeping score. It's a powerful, collective current. And finally, slow with timing. This one is so critical. Water doesn't smash itself against a frozen dam. It waits. It's patient. It moves when the thaw comes. In the world of business, this is everything. You can try to force a great product on a market that's not ready, and you'll fail. Or you can wait, watch, and launch at that perfect moment when the world is practically begging for it. That's how you make a huge splash. So when you actually do this, when you learn to flow with purpose, with people, and with timing, what's the result? You get this subtle but absolutely massive advantage. You learn the art of winning by refusing to fight. This gets us right back to our original image. The river never starts a war with the boulder. Why would it? That would be a huge waste of energy. It just accepts the obstacle is there and flows around it. And here's the genius part. Because it never picks a fight it can't win, it can't ever truly be defeated. It just keeps going. And you can see these advantages everywhere today. Flowing around obstacles, that's how a small company can innovate a whole new market instead of getting crushed in a price war. Flowing low, that's how a leader earns genuine trust, by taking on the humble jobs to see what's really going on. And never forcing. That's how a great negotiator creates a win-win deal that builds a relationship instead of destroying one. Maybe the best modern example is Apple. When digital music was a total free-for-all, a messy battle, they didn't just build a better weapon and jump in. No, they flowed around the entire problem. They created the iPod and iTunes, a whole new river. That is the water-like approach on a massive scale. So all of this really brings us back to you. We've talked about the big ideas. We've seen how it works, but now it's personal. It's about you finding your own current. What are you going to shape? So look, if there's just one thing you take away from all of this, please let it be this. Real strength isn't about domination. It's not about being the loudest or the strongest. True, lasting strength is about being essential. It's about being useful.
And once you start looking for it, you see this power everywhere. It's in the negotiator who finally finds that breakthrough solution because they were quiet enough to actually listen. It's in the company that builds incredible loyalty by working with nature instead of against it. And it's in every parent who raises a truly resilient kid by guiding with patience, not by ruling with an iron fist.
So I'm gonna leave you with one final question to chew on. Think about the big rocks in your path right now, in your career, in your life. We all have them. The question is this: if you stopped wasting all your energy trying to push right through them, what new currents could you create? Where else could you flow?